Zombieland, a movie audiobook. Chapter 1: The Rules of Survival. In the wasteland of what was once the United States, life had taken on a new, sinister meaning. Civilization had crumbled, cities lay in ruins, and the once familiar streets now teemed with the undead. But amidst the chaos, a young man named Columbus stood out as an unlikely survivor. Columbus was not a hero by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, he was the embodiment of unassuming mediocrity. His real name, should anyone still care about such things, was hardly ever spoken. Instead, he had adopted the moniker Columbus in reference to his hometown. He found comfort in the familiarity of a name from a world that was no more. The rules were his gospel, etched into his memory like the commandments of old. The rules of survival were his lifeline in this new world, the only structure in a place where chaos reigned supreme. They guided him, provided him with a semblance of control, and offered a set of commandments for navigating the treacherous landscape. Rule number 1: Cardio. Always be in good shape. The dead don't get tired, and neither should you. Columbus was as scrawny as they came, but he jogged on empty streets, his heart pounding, knowing that if he ever slowed down, he might join the ranks of the undead. Rule number 2: The double tap. Never assume a zombie is dead until you've shot it twice. This rule was born out of painful experience, as Columbus had learned that the dead didn't go down easily. A single shot to the chest often left them writhing on the ground, only to spring back to life when you least expected it. Rule number 3: Beware of bathrooms. They're death traps. The confined space, limited escape routes, and the fact that most people were caught off guard in restrooms made them a breeding ground for zombie ambushes. Columbus had survived more than one close call in a bathroom, narrowly escaping the clutches of the undead. Columbus was on the move, clutching a backpack filled with the essentials: bottled water, non-perishable food, a flashlight, and a tattered map. The world outside his makeshift shelter was a haunting scene of desolation, but he couldn't stay put for long. The world was an unforgiving place, and inaction equated to death. It was on this particular day, as Columbus ventured into an abandoned grocery store in search of canned goods, that he encountered his first zombie. The creature stood there, a grotesque caricature of its former self, with lifeless eyes and decayed flesh. The stench of death was overpowering, causing Columbus to gag and retreat a few steps. Columbus's heart raced as he reached for his trusty 9mm pistol. This was the moment he had been dreading since the world had gone to hell. Sweat trickled down his forehead as he aimed the gun at the zombie's head, his trembling fingers finding the trigger. With a deafening crack, the shot rang out, and the zombie's head exploded in a shower of putrid gore. But Columbus knew the second rule, the double tap, all too well. He quickly fired another round into the twitching corpse, ensuring it would never rise again. Gasping for breath, Columbus felt a strange mix of fear, relief, and sorrow. He was alone in a world that had lost its humanity, a world where the rules of survival were etched in blood and desperation. And he had just taken his first step down this dark and dangerous path. Columbus knew he had to keep moving, find others if they were still out there, and survive to see another day. The rules were his compass, his guide in this chaotic world, and he was determined to follow them, no matter the cost. The adventure had only just begun. Columbus had been on the road for days, the memories of his first encounter with the undead still fresh in his mind. He'd been following his map, trying to make his way to Ohio, where he hoped to find his family. The landscape was a desolate stretch of highway, a graveyard of abandoned cars and shattered dreams. The sun hung low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the asphalt. Columbus trudged forward, his backpack weighing heavily on his shoulders, each step a struggle against the weight of the world. In the distance, he spotted a welcome sight, a small convenience store that might still hold a few precious supplies. As he cautiously entered the store, he was greeted by the grim sight of shattered glass, empty shelves, and a lingering sense of despair. The place had been picked clean, its former occupants likely having moved on or met a gruesome fate. Columbus sighed in frustration and turned to leave when a loud, exuberant voice cut through the silence. "Well, ain't this a cozy little surprise?" The voice was tinged with a hint of madness, but there was an undeniable confidence in it. Columbus spun around, his hand instinctively reaching for his pistol as a tall, scruffy figure with wild eyes and a shotgun slung over his shoulder emerged from the shadows. The newcomer had a devil-may-care swagger about him, a stark contrast to Columbus's nervous demeanor. The man grinned, revealing a set of teeth that had seen better days. "Don't suppose you're a Twinkie enthusiast, are ya?" he asked, his gaze fixed on Columbus's backpack. Columbus blinked, not quite sure how to respond. Twinkies? Not really my thing." The man shrugged, as if Columbus's indifference to the cream-filled snack cakes was of no consequence. "Name's Tallahassee," he announced, as if it were a name worth remembering. Columbus hesitated, then introduced himself. "I'm Columbus, but you can call me whatever you want, I guess." Tallahassee's laughter echoed through the desolate store. "Well, Columbus, it's your lucky day. You've just met the baddest zombie-slaying machine this side of the Mississippi." Columbus regarded Tallahassee with a mixture of curiosity and caution. This man seemed like a loose cannon, but there was no denying the air of competence that surrounded him. After all, he was alive and seemingly thriving in this nightmarish world. Tallahassee continued, "See, I've got a talent for finding those suckers and blowing their brains out." He patted his shotgun affectionately. Columbus couldn't help but be impressed. He had survived his fair share of close encounters with zombies, but this man exuded a level of confidence that was both baffling and reassuring. "Look," Tallahassee said, his tone growing more serious, "I've been traveling solo for a while now, but two heads are better than one. We could watch each other's backs, split the supplies, and maybe, just maybe, have some fun along the way." Columbus weighed his options. He was alone in this nightmare, and despite Tallahassee's unpredictable nature, there was an undeniable appeal to the idea of having a partner in survival. He could learn from this man, hone his own survival skills, and increase his chances of reaching Ohio. With a hesitant nod, Columbus agreed. "All right, Tallahassee, let's do this." And with that, an unlikely alliance was forged in the ruins of a convenience store, where the two survivors decided to journey together into the heart of a world overrun by the undead. As Columbus would soon discover, Tallahassee was not just a man. He was a force of nature, and their adventures were only beginning. Chapter 3: Wichita and Little Rock. Columbus and Tallahassee's journey had become a surreal partnership. The unlikely duo forged their way through the apocalyptic landscape, finding solace in each other's company, despite the ever-present threat of the undead. Their encounters with zombies had become almost routine, and the rules of survival had become second nature. One overcast afternoon, as they drove down a desolate highway in their battered vehicle, the rumble of the engine echoing through the silent world, the horizon presented a peculiar sight. A pair of young women stood beside a broken-down car, waving their arms frantically. Tallahassee eased off the gas pedal, his fingers tightening around the steering wheel. "What do you think, Columbus? Should we give him a lift?" Columbus peered at the women, one of them holding a cardboard sign that read, "Help." He wasn't the most trusting individual, thanks to the harsh reality of this new world, but something about their vulnerability touched him. Maybe they need our help, Columbus suggested tentatively. Tallahassee grunted in agreement, and they pulled over to the side of the road. The two women approached cautiously, their expressions a mixture of fear and gratitude. The older of the two, a striking young woman with piercing eyes and an air of self-assuredness, introduced herself as Wichita. The younger one, her sister, was Little Rock. We were stranded out here, Wichita explained. Our car broke down, and we've been trying to survive on our own. Columbus couldn't help but notice the wary glances that Wichita and Little Rock exchanged. There was an undercurrent of distrust in their eyes, something he could understand all too well. Tallahassee, always the straight shooter, decided to break the ice with a disarming grin. Well, ladies, you're in luck. You've just met the two most badass zombie slayers this side of the Mississippi. Little Rock's eyes widened with a mix of awe and fear, but Wichita remained composed, her gaze never wavering. That's great and all, but we're low on supplies, and your car looks like it's seen better days. How about we team up? Safety in numbers, right? Columbus and Tallahassee exchanged a knowing glance, a silent agreement that this partnership could be mutually beneficial. The women seemed to know their way around this world, and their company could add an extra layer of protection. As night fell and the group shared a meal around a flickering campfire, stories of survival were exchanged. Wichita and Little Rock spoke of their own set of rules, different from Columbus's, but equally essential. Trust, they said, was something that had to be earned. The camaraderie was almost too good to be true, and Columbus couldn't help but feel a twinge of optimism. They had companions now, a semblance of normality in this nightmarish world. However, as the night wore on and the embers of the campfire dimmed, the women's true intentions became apparent. While Columbus and Tallahassee slept, the sisters made their move. They silently pilfered the weapons and the battered vehicle and left a note that read, Sorry, but we can't risk trusting anyone. Columbus and Tallahassee awoke to find their supplies gone, and the women's car long vanished into the distance. The betrayal stung, but it was a stark reminder of the harshness of their world. In a place where trust was a scarce resource, it could be a deadly liability. Tallahassee's face contorted with anger, his grip on the steering wheel white-knuckled. We're gonna find those girls, Columbus. And when we do, they're gonna regret ever messing with us. Determined and with a new purpose, Columbus and Tallahassee set off in pursuit of Wichita and Little Rock, their alliance tested, but their resolve stronger than ever. They were about to embark on an unpredictable journey, one that would reveal the true nature of the world they now inhabited. Chapter 4: The Reunion. Columbus and Tallahassee sped down the desolate highway, the hum of the engine and the sound of the wind against their battered vehicles serving as the only company. Their determination to track down Wichita and Little Rock had become their singular focus, the need for revenge fueling their every move. The sisters had managed to slip away under the cover of darkness, and their head start was significant. However, the resources Columbus and Tallahassee had acquired over time allowed them to close the gap. They followed the trail of abandoned cars and the occasional hint left behind, each clue bringing them one step closer. Finally, the remnants of a small encampment emerged on the horizon. Abandoned cars and makeshift barriers told a story of a recent struggle. The air was tense with the memory of a confrontation. This was where Wichita and Little Rock had made their last stand. Columbus and Tallahassee approached cautiously, their weapons drawn, their senses on high alert. As they crept closer, a voice called out, Hold your fire! It was Wichita, stepping out from behind a dilapidated vehicle with her hands raised in a gesture of surrender. Little Rock appeared beside her, her expression a mix of fear and determination. We know you're good with guns, but we had to protect ourselves. Tallahassee, his shotgun still aimed at the women, replied with a steely tone. You stole our stuff, and that's not something we take lightly. Wichita nodded, her eyes unwavering. We did what we had to do to survive. You're not the first people we've encountered in this world, and we can't trust just anyone. The standoff continued, tension thick in the air. Columbus, ever the peacemaker, stepped forward. Look, we get it. Trust is a rare commodity in this world. We didn't trust you at first either, but we've learned that maybe we're stronger together. Little Rock's gaze softened, and she glanced at her sister, who seemed to be considering the offer. We've been on our own for so long, she admitted. It's hard to let people in. Wichita's eyes flickered, revealing the weight of her choices. We've seen our fair share of tragedy. It's made us cautious. Tallahassee, though wary, lowered his weapon, the tension in his shoulders easing. Well, cautious is a good start. We've been through our fair share of hell, too. The two groups stood there, caught in a precarious balance. It was a moment of truth, where decisions had to be made. The world outside was unforgiving, and trusting anyone was a risk. But in that moment, a glimmer of hope shone through. Finally, Columbus extended an open hand. We're not asking you to trust us blindly. Let's start with a truce, see how things go. We can survive better together. The tension seemed to deflate, and Wichita cautiously approached, accepting the offered hand. Little Rock followed suit, and with a shake of hands, the lines that had divided them began to blur. The four survivors, who had once been two separate pairs, were now a united group. They decided to reconcile and travel together, pooling their resources and skills for the common goal of survival. Columbus couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. They had found companionship in a world where it was a rare and precious gift. As they shared stories around a campfire that night, laughter and camaraderie replaced the initial tension. The scars of their pasts were still present, but they had taken the first steps toward building trust in this unforgiving world. Together, they were stronger, and with this newfound alliance, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The road ahead was still uncertain, but it was one they would navigate together, for better or worse, as a united group of survivors in a world overrun by the undead. Chapter 5: Pacific Playland. The decision to travel as a group had brought a newfound sense of unity to Columbus, Tallahassee, Wichita, and Little Rock. They shared supplies, kept watch during the long nights, and relied on each other's strengths. The road, once a lonely and dangerous path, now felt a little less ominous. One evening, as they huddled around a campfire beneath a starlit sky, Wichita shared a rumor she had heard from other survivors they had encountered on their journey. There's a place called Pacific Playland, she said, her voice tinged with a glimmer of hope. It's an amusement park, and the rumor is that it's zombie-free. It might be a safe haven, a place where we can rest. Columbus, ever the planner, considered the idea. It's a gamble, but we've survived this long by taking chances. If it's true, if we can find this place, it could be a sanctuary, a moment of respite in this nightmare. Tallahassee, always up for a fight, grinned. And maybe there's a Twinkie or two still lurking in that place. Little Rock's eyes lit up at the prospect of a safe haven, a place where she and her sister could enjoy a moment of normalcy in a world that had stripped them of their childhood. I want to go there, she said, her voice filled with determination. The decision was made. The next morning, they set out on a road trip in search of Pacific Playland. The amusement park was rumored to be several hundred miles away, a daunting journey in a world plagued by danger. As they traveled, they encountered a world that had long since lost its human touch. Abandoned cars littered the highways, and the ruins of civilization passed by like silent ghosts. Every mile was a reminder of the world that had been and the world they had lost. But amidst the desolation, the group found moments of respite. They sang songs, shared stories of the past, and Little Rock even managed to find a dusty old guitar in the back of their vehicle. It was the little things that made the journey bearable, the connections they had forged in the face of adversity. As they approached their destination, the excitement grew palpable. The rumors about Pacific Playland had sparked a glimmer of hope, a beacon of light in a world shrouded in darkness. The amusement park, with its bright colors and cheerful atmosphere, was a symbol of the world that had been, a stark contrast to the desolation they had become accustomed to. Finally, they reached their destination, the once vibrant Pacific Playland now a shadow of its former self. The amusement park was eerily quiet, and the ride stood still and silent, a testament to a world that had moved on. But there was no sign of the undead, and that was reason enough to hope. With cautious optimism, the group explored the park, their weapons drawn, ready for any threat that might emerge. Tallahassee couldn't help but look around, his eyes scanning for any sign of Twinkies, but the once beloved snack had likely become a relic of the past. As they ventured deeper into the park, the silence was broken by the laughter of the group. They took a chance, they had made it, and for a moment, it felt like the world had regained a bit of its former magic. But as the sun began to set, and the park's lights flickered to life, the group couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. They were not alone in Pacific Playland. The sound of growling and shuffling footsteps echoed through the park, and the group realized that the rumors about a zombie-free haven might have been too good to be true. The once tranquil amusement park had become an eerie battleground, and the group would have to fight to secure their newfound sanctuary. As the undead closed in, their odds of survival seemed uncertain once more. In this twisted world, Pacific Playland had become a battleground for their lives, and the group was about to face a terrifying new challenge. Chapter 6: Twinkie Quest. Pacific Playland had not turned out to be the zombie-free sanctuary they had hoped for. The undead, once drawn to the park's lights and sounds, had descended upon them like a tidal wave of death. The group fought desperately to secure their newfound haven, guns blazing and makeshift weapons swinging. Amid the chaos, Tallahassee's shotgun roared like thunder, his aim unerring as he dispatched zombie after zombie. Wichita and Little Rock fought with an almost preternatural grace, their movements fluid and deadly. Columbus, once the timid observer, had become a warrior in his own right, his 9mm pistol a barking guardian against the encroaching horde. But despite their resilience, the zombies seemed relentless, their numbers seemingly infinite. It was a battle that raged throughout the night, and by morning, they had fought their way to a temporary safety zone. As they caught their breath, huddled together among the remnants of the amusement park's attractions, Columbus couldn't help but ask, "What was that all about? I thought this place was supposed to be safe." Tallahassee, his chest heaving from the exertion, finally spoke. "You can't believe everything you hear, especially when it comes to Twinkies." Columbus was puzzled, but it seemed like the perfect time to get to the bottom of the mystery that had intrigued him ever since their partnership began. "Twinkies? You mean those cream-filled sponge cakes?" Tallahassee's eyes gleamed with a strange mix of nostalgia and determination. "You got it. I've been on a quest to find the last Twinkie on Earth ever since this whole mess began." The group exchanged bemused glances. It seemed like a peculiar obsession in a world where survival was the primary concern. Tallahassee continued, "You see, my friend, it's about more than just the Twinkie. It's a symbol, a piece of a world that used to be normal. A time when we didn't have to worry about zombies trying to make a meal out of us. A time when life was sweet." As they listened to Tallahassee's impassioned speech, the group couldn't help but feel a sense of shared absurdity. In this nightmarish world, finding the last Twinkie had become a personal quest, a bizarre glimmer of hope. The journey, which had initially seemed frivolous, now took on a new level of significance. As they continued on the road, the group encountered various challenges and obstacles. They fought off hordes of zombies, scavenged for supplies, and navigated the treacherous terrain of a world in chaos. Through it all, Tallahassee's determination to find the last Twinkie remained unshaken. He searched in every convenience store, gas station, and supermarket they came across. He believed that if he could find that one final Twinkie, it would symbolize a return to a world that had once been familiar and sweet. The group, despite the absurdity of the quest, found themselves drawn into Tallahassee's mission. It became a shared goal, a reminder that even in a world gone mad, there were moments of humor and absurdity that made life worth living. The road was long and fraught with danger, but they had each other, and they had a purpose. In a world overrun by the undead, their quest for the last Twinkie became a symbol of resilience, a beacon of hope, and a testament to the human spirit's ability to find meaning even in the most unlikely of places. Chapter 7: Building Bonds. As the group continued their journey through the apocalyptic wasteland, their quest for the last Twinkie and the pursuit of safety led to a series of memorable and often comical encounters with zombies. It was as if fate had a sense of dark humor, sprinkling their path with bizarre moments that would become the stuff of legends. One such encounter involved an undead clown, its brightly colored costume stained with dried blood. As it stumbled toward them, its red rubber nose squeaked with each step. Tallahassee couldn't help but chuckle despite the situation. "Well, ain't that just typical? Even the zombies are a bunch of jokers now." In another instance, they found themselves face to face with a zombie wearing a wedding gown, its tattered veil fluttering in the breeze. Little Rock quipped, "Yes, she's still waiting for her undead groom. Talk about a shotgun wedding." These encounters became opportunities for the group to bond, to find humor in the absurdity of their circumstances. Laughter was a rare and precious commodity in their world, and it helped to forge a sense of camaraderie that transcended their dire circumstances. Amidst the chaos, Columbus and Wichita found themselves drawn to each other. Their shared experiences, the adrenaline-fueled escapes, and the quiet moments by the campfire had woven a unique connection between them. Columbus had once been the neurotic loner, but now he had found someone who understood him. One evening, as they sat side by side, gazing at the stars, Wichita turned to him and smiled. "You know, Columbus, I used to think the world was all about survival, but it's more than that. It's about the connections we make, the people we care about." Columbus nodded, his heart racing. "I know what you mean. And I care about you." The words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Wichita's smile grew warmer, and she leaned in, their lips meeting in a gentle, unspoken agreement. In the midst of a world that had lost its humanity, they had found something precious. Their growing affection didn't go unnoticed by the others. Tallahassee raised an eyebrow and grinned. "Well, well, looks like we've got ourselves a budding romance in the apocalypse. I've seen it all now." Little Rock, ever the voice of reason, chimed in. "As long as you don't start planning the undead wedding, I'm fine with it." The group teased and laughed, but it was clear that Columbus, and Wichita's blossoming relationship was a testament to the enduring power of love and connection in even the most dire circumstances. In their journey through the remnants of a broken world, they had faced danger, betrayal, and chaos. But they had also discovered laughter, love, and a bond that would help them face whatever challenges lay ahead. As they traveled on, hand in hand, Columbus and Wichita knew that they were no longer alone in the dark, that they had found something rare and beautiful amidst the chaos of the apocalypse. Chapter 8: The Illusion of Safety. The group's journey had brought them to the once fabled Pacific Playland, their destination illuminated by the remnants of its colorful attractions and flickering lights. But as they entered the park, what they discovered shattered their hopes of a safe haven. The illusion of safety crumbled before their eyes. The park was infested with a massive horde of zombies, drawn by the lights, the noise, and the scent of the living. The undead had taken over the amusement park, turning it into a twisted and deadly playground. Tallahassee cursed under his breath as he took in the sight. "Well, it looks like we walked right into the lion's den." The group had no choice but to retreat, their only path blocked by the relentless advance of the zombie horde. They backed away slowly, the tension in the air palpable, their weapons at the ready. The undead, with their lifeless eyes and insatiable hunger, moved with a chilling and eerie coordination. The once cheerful park had become a grim battleground, and the group was trapped in a nightmare of their own making. Columbus couldn't help but feel a sense of despair. They had come so far, faced so many challenges, only to find themselves in a situation that seemed hopeless. He turned to Wichita, who met his gaze with a determined look in her eyes. "We can't give up now," she said. "We've faced worse odds before. We'll find a way out of this." Tallahassee, the ever resourceful warrior, scanned their surroundings for a possible escape route. His eyes settled on a nearby building, a gift shop adorned with plush toys and souvenirs. "We need to find cover, fortify our position, and come up with a plan." The group retreated into the gift shop, barricading the doors and windows as the relentless zombie horde pressed in. The tension was palpable as they prepared for what would undoubtedly be a fierce battle. As the first wave of zombies descended upon them, the group fought with a fierce determination, their movements coordinated and their aim true. Tallahassee's shotgun roared, and Wichita's swift strikes were a force to be reckoned with. Columbus, despite his initial hesitation, held his ground, his 9mm pistol a steady guardian. The battle raged on, the group's movements fueled by adrenaline and desperation. But the undead kept coming, their numbers seeming endless. It was a brutal and unrelenting fight, one that pushed the group to their limits. For every zombie they dispatched, 2 more took its place. Their ammunition was running low, and their physical and mental exhaustion weighed heavily on them. In the midst of the chaos, Columbus couldn't help but wonder if this was the end, if the illusion of safety they had sought had led them to their doom. But he also knew that giving up was not an option. As long as there was breath in their bodies, they would keep fighting. The battle continued, their determination unwavering, as they faced the relentless zombie horde. In this dark and harrowing moment, the group's bond was their greatest strength, their hope burning brighter than ever as they clung to the slim chance of survival. The once promised safety of Pacific Playland had proven to be a cruel illusion, but their spirit and their will to survive were stronger than any threat that could be thrown their way. Chapter 9: A Fight for Survival. Inside the gift shop at Pacific Playland, the group fought with a desperation that had been honed through countless trials. The zombie horde pressed in, their lifeless eyes and gnashing teeth a constant threat. But Columbus, Tallahassee, Wichita, and Little Rock were no longer the individuals they once were. They had become a team, a force to be reckoned with, bound by their shared trials and their will to survive. Tallahassee's shotgun was a force of nature, each blast sending zombies sprawling. Wichita's swift strikes were a ballet of death, her knife flashing through the air. Little Rock had become a sharpshooter, her precise shots taking down the undead with uncanny accuracy. Columbus, once a neurotic loner, had found his place in the group. His 9mm pistol was a steady guardian, his aim sure, and his movements coordinated. They fought with a coordinated ferocity that spoke to their shared experiences, their shared determination to live. As the battle raged on, they found themselves in a moment of intense danger. The horde pressed in, and the odds seemed insurmountable. The gift shop's barricades held for now, but their ammunition was running low, and exhaustion gnawed at their bones. In the midst of the chaos, Columbus and Wichita found themselves side by side, their hearts pounding in unison. Their eyes met, and in that shared gaze, the truth was undeniable. Columbus spoke over the cacophony of battle, his voice laced with urgency. "Wichita, I need to tell you something." Wichita, her knife in hand, met his gaze, a flicker of vulnerability in her eyes. "Not now, Columbus. We're in the middle of a fight." But Columbus was unrelenting. "I can't wait any longer. I care about you, Wichita, more than I ever thought I could care about anyone." Wichita's expression softened, and for a moment, the world around them faded into the background. "Columbus, I care about you too." In the midst of the relentless onslaught, Columbus and Wichita shared a brief, intense kiss, a testament to their shared connection and their love amidst the chaos. It was a declaration, a moment of vulnerability in a world that had become a crucible of survival. Their love, ignited by the fires of adversity, seemed to give them newfound strength. With renewed determination, they fought off the zombie horde, their movements more coordinated, their spirits unbroken. As the last of the zombies fell, the group stood amidst the ruins of Pacific Playland, victorious but weary. The fight had been brutal, but it had also revealed the depths of their courage and their unwavering bond. In this dark and dangerous world, their love had become a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of connection and the resilience of the human spirit. As they caught their breath, they knew that the journey was far from over, but they also knew that they would face whatever challenges lay ahead together, stronger and more united than ever. Chapter 10: Moving Forward. With the relentless zombie horde vanquished, the group emerged from the ruins of Pacific Playland, battered but victorious. Their quest for a safe haven had led them to a false paradise, but they had found something even more precious, a bond forged in the crucible of survival. Columbus and Wichita's newfound love was a source of strength. They walked hand in hand, their hearts and souls intertwined. The journey had transformed them, and they had discovered that love could thrive even in the harshest of circumstances. Tallahassee and Little Rock, too, had formed a unique bond. Their shared experiences and the trials they had faced had brought them together, creating a father-daughter relationship that was built on trust and mutual protection. As they continued their journey, Columbus reflected on the importance of companionship in this post-apocalyptic world. "We thought we were searching for safety," he said, "but what we found was something even more valuable. We found each other." Wichita nodded in agreement, her gaze fixed on Columbus. "In a world where trust is a rare commodity, we've learned that we can rely on each other. Love and friendship are the bonds that keep us strong." Tallahassee, known for his tough exterior, chimed in. "We've become a family, and that's what matters. It's not about Twinkies or safe havens. It's about the people we care about, the people we fight for." Little Rock, who had grown up in a world defined by chaos, added, We may have lost a lot, but we've gained something too. We've gained each other. In the midst of a world that had lost its humanity, the group had found something rare and beautiful. They had found love, friendship, and the strength that comes from relying on one another. Their journey was far from over, and the world outside was still a dangerous and unpredictable place. But as they walked forward, hand in hand, the weight of their experiences behind them, they knew that they were not alone in the dark. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. Their shared bond, forged in the crucible of survival, was a testament to the enduring power of love and connection, a beacon of hope in a world defined by chaos. And so, with their hearts and hands joined, they continued their journey into the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges the post apocalyptic world had in store for them. They had learned that in a world overrun by the undead, it was the living who could create a new world, a world defined by the strength of their bonds and the resilience of the human spirit. Hey there, fellow fiction enthusiasts. I hope you've been enjoying the audio stories on Muted Gamer Fiction as much as I've loved bringing them to you. Your support means the world to me, and today, I've got a small request for you. If you've been relishing these audiobooks and fan fiction tales, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, drop a comment, and, of course, subscribe if you haven't already. Your likes, comments, and subscriptions are like fuel to my storytelling fire, and they keep this channel going strong. I'd also love to hear from you. Whether you've got a particular fan fiction suggestion you're dying to share, or simply want to say hi, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. This channel is a community of like-minded fans, and your input is incredibly valuable. So, thank you once again for being a part of Muted Gamer Fiction. Keep those headphones on, immerse yourself in our stories, and let's continue this exciting journey together. Your support keeps the stories coming, and I can't wait to see what fan fiction ideas you have in mind. Happy listening, and remember to hit those like, comment, and subscribe buttons. See you in the next chapter.